Hi folks, and welcome back to another still water tutorial. What you see in the vise is my version of a kihi. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise then is a Hanak H260 barbless hook. This one's at size 10. It's on a heavy wire and it's in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using today is from Semperfli and it's Nano silk at 12/0, and as you can see it's black. As always, first thing I'm going to do with this is get a little bit of super glue onto the shank of the hook just to stop body rotation in the fly. Next we're going to put down a bed of silk onto the shank, and we're going to run that all the way up the shank to approximately where a barb would be on a barbed hook. Just remove that excess glue. Got a wee bit too excited with the glue, put too much on. Now the kihi is a very old fly and it originally was tied in the early 1930s, and the tag would have been wool that would have been stolen from a granny's knitting basket, and that would have been your tag. But wool not so prevalent nowadays, so I'm going to be using some Glo-Brite. This is the number 3, and as you can see it's red, as the original kihi's tag was. Now I'm going to take approximately a foot of the floss off, and I'm going to fold it over once. And the reason I count is so when I'm tying up a batch of these, I get consistency. Twice, eight, and then one more time gives me 16. So that's 16 on this size of fly, which is a 10. Gives me the number of folds I've got to do to get my tag. And I want to run that approximately the length of the body. Don't bring it all the way up to the eye of the hook, because you need that space for your hackle. So I'm going to tie that in on top of the shank as best I can, and again I'm going to run my thread back to approximately where a barb would be on a hook. Now length of tag, people will argue night and day. I like to come in just in behind the bend and take away the remainder, and that you can either put that to the side or discard it, it's up to yourself. Back in the day then, to add a little bit of colour to the fly, people used golden pheasant, and I've already got a little bit here. What I'm going to do is just take the outrunners away, and I'm going to grab approximately a dozen fibres, and what I want to do with these is just line them up in my hands. Don't need to be too pernickety with it, but you want it to be kind of approximately right. Kind of approximately right, yeah. That sounds really accurate. Okay, just bear with me, and I've got it as close to government work that I need. So I'm going to use this, and what I want is the second black part that you see. So the black tips, and there's a black middle, and I want to put that just on the middle of my red tag. Once I'm happy that's in place, I can catch that in again. I'm going to catch it in the entire length of the fly and bring it back to where I started. Then I can just come in and remove my excess fibres. So far so good. Now what I like about the kihi is it's one of these flies that's lasted the test of time, and not only that, it's pretty quick to tie and you don't need many materials. So what I'm going to come in with next is some Peacock Herl. This one's been dyed black, and I'm going to take 2 strands. Or I might take 3 strands. No, I want 2. 3's come out. I'll just need to use that for a dial back later. So with the peacock herls, the strongest part's at the bottom of the herl, and obviously it gets weaker as you progress up the tips. I always like to take away the weak part, because what I don't want is, while I'm bringing it up the fly, I don't want it to snap off on me. So I'm going to catch that in at the base, don't need to catch that in the length, and then what I'm going to do is just build a little taper into the body. Now this is the trade-off with nano silks. You know, what you get is an extremely precise thread to tie with, but the downside, if you like, is you've got to take a little bit of time when you're building tapers into your body, because it takes an awful lot of wraps to get that taper into place. So I'm going to stop my thread a couple of millimetres back for the eye. Now before I bring the herl up, I'm going to just add a little bit of super glue to the body, and the reason for this is it just gives the fly a bit of longevity. Very often when you're tying with herl, you would have a secondary rib coming over the top of it to give it some protection, like silver or gold wire, but on this occasion I just want the herl to stand on its own really, and to do that super glue just facilitates it so that it lasts a bit longer. It's a great fly tie material, peacock herl. Gives you lots of movement, it's a lovely colour, subdued but comes alive in the water. So I'm not going to put my herl there, I'm going to use the excess I've got just to build a little bit more taper into the body, and then I'm going to come in and secure that down. Pull everything back out the way, get a few turns in front, and then you can come in with your scissors and remove your excess. So that's looking not too bad. It comes for the Herl lochs in Scotland actually, and you know, some of the research I did before I tied the fly today said that it was one of these sort of flies that would very often save a blank. Next then, we're going to bring in our hackle. I've got one that I've pre-prepared. It's simply a hen feather. This one's been dyed black, and I've already got a little tag at the front there just to catch that in. I'm going to put it across the eye and bring the thread. Now before I bring the hackle up, I'm just going to put a small half hitch in. It just stops the thread slipping over the edge of the eye. And before I bring my hackle over, I'm just going to break that. I'll come in with my hackle pliers and I'll see which way the feather wants to sit, not that way. There we go. You can see it's actually, so when I bring it that way, it's not sitting right. When I bring it the other way, the feathers naturally flow back, and that's what I'm after. So I'm going to get 3 turns of hackle in, and that gives me the kind of bushiness I want at the front. You'll find your own way as regards to hackle turn numbers, and once you've got that magic number, store it in your little head, and then you'll get fairly consistent flies. So I'm just going to bring that back to catch it in, and then once I'm content I've got a holder, I can remove my hackle pliers, sweep everything back, try and capture all the fibres, don't let any of them escape you, and then you can start to build your head. As I say, fairly easy fly to tie, and it's a good one to get these basic techniques down pat. So I'm fairly happy with that. I'm going to just whip finish off now. just caught a little fibre in there. And then I can remove my thread. Like so. Now I'm just going to find my tag end of my hackle. And because I'm near the top, it'll just break away. Nice and gentle. There you have my version of the key. I know it's not exactly the same as the old-fashioned version, but it's good enough for government work. And what I would do, just to finish that off, is varnish the head. Sorry, I've just caught in some fibres that must have blew up onto the table. I'll need to pick them out later. But essentially that's it. I'll varnish the head, or I'll use UV resin as I do. I hope you got some value from that. Thanks very much for watching, and if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.